To you. Hello, hello. Hello guys, how are you? I should actually be looking in that camera.
There.
Hi everyone. Who's going to join us this lovely afternoon? Oriyomi, good afternoon. Thank you for joining. As you're joining, please start to share as well. We have got a wonderful interview with a wonderful man, DSA family. I'm really looking forward to this. As usual, you know how much I love the interviews. So this is another insight moment for me. And I would like if as many people as possible would join us, because I always learn something. We always learn something in interviews. So please invite people and also share. Thank you. Okay. Ryumi, again, good afternoon. Thank you for sharing. The Russian name I cannot read, but thank you so much for sharing. I appreciate it. Thank you. I'm going to turn my camera in a minute, but before I do, if you're joining us for the first time or you're one of the people that subscribe, thank you for subscribing. This is a great decision that you've made, and we have lots and lots of information for you, lots of knowledge, lots of wisdom, lots of insight on life, on every aspect, every sphere of life. So welcome. Thank you, Galina. Thank you, Fumi. Welcome today. Welcome. Today again, guys, I hope you remember, I'm sure that you remember, we are starting live broadcast with Dr. Sunday, and that is starting at 9 p.m. But before we do that, we also have another broadcast which starts at 7 p.m. Ukraine time. It's going to be an exciting day. This Monday, 5th of June, is the beginning of great things. So please don't forget, put it in your diary. Don't forget to join us for all these great programs that we've got lined up for you. So thank you again for joining. Hello Topsy, hello Cass, how are you? Thanks for joining. Please start to share as you're coming in, and don't just share, also invite your friends. Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Srikan. If you're one of the people that subscribe to this channel, well done, or this page, well done. We have lots of great great teachings that you really, it's almost like you've just discovered a gold mine. This is a gold mine that you discover. So I really welcome you and congratulate you as well for coming onto the show, for subscribing. So well done. This page, Dr. Sunday Adelaja, is the page that you would always be grateful that you subscribe onto. So thank you very much for subscribing. Thank you very much, Topsy. That's really nice of you. I appreciate it. So I'm going to turn my camera now to our guest. So I call him Finn. I don't know if you guys know Finn, but Finn is a DSA member. He's always been. I'm going to let him introduce himself, not me to introduce him, because he's right here in front of me. Why should I do the hard work? Let him do it. Well, I always like doing the hard work and introducing my guest, but I would like him to introduce himself to the rest of the family so that they can put a name to the face. So let's do that right now. Thank you. Hello, Mrs. D. Hello, Finn.
Hello. Well, I'm Finn, and I'm from Denmark. And I came here to the DSA family in the Ukraine. And I'm really enjoying to be here. I can tell you guys that it is wonderful to be here. And if you have not been here before, I can only recommend to come down and try to be here, because it's just, the atmosphere is just wonderful. I know that there is coming an HMT within soon, and so if you feel like joining in the HMT and you're an English speaking person, then I think that you should go in and sign up, because it's definitely worth it. I've been here for the last few days, since Friday, and it has been an awesome pleasure and joy to be together with Pastor Sunday and then meet him live and just allow him to pour into you and share of his many years of experience. And it has been really awesome to have that experience. It's unique. You will not find a place, another place in the world like this. I have been living in America for 3 years, almost 4 years. I was living in Romania for almost 5 years, and I've been living in Denmark the rest of my life, and I've never experienced a wonderful place like this. So it's an awesome joy and pleasure to have the opportunity to come here and just see what God is doing out of Ukraine and just touching the whole world. That is a blessing. So in Denmark, I have been teaching. I have an online Bible school called Christ for Denmark, and then I was in Romania also building a Bible school there for almost 5 years, and a real Bible school where we have students living there right now, and many people are being touched. So that was an awesome experience. But now I feel that God is calling me to start a church in Denmark, and so I came here to Pastor Sunday because I see how effective the work is here in the Ukraine, and I feel that we need in Europe, in the Western Europe, to learn from this place and learn how to not only reach the Christian friends that we have around, but even reach people who have never heard the gospel and never have any experience. So
thank you very much, Finn. That was really, really detailed what you just explained in a nutshell. You know, a lot of things that you spoke to us about, well, you gave us information on. So there are a few things that I got from that with your introduction. I want to start this introduction really from the very beginning and using all the insight that you've given us just now for the interview, as a point for the interview. So I'll start really with your personal life, who you are. I also want to know how long you've been following or you've known Dr. Sunday. I would like to know that. And also, was this your first visit here in Ukraine, your second visit? You've spoken so well about Ukraine, about HMT. You've touched on so many things. You've touched on being in this environment, how amazing it is, the atmosphere. You've talked about HMT and encouraging other people to come to HMT. I'm not sure if you've been to HMT yourself, but you've got such zeal about your presence here and Dr. Sunday. But I want to really start from the beginning because I want people to have a picture of who you are. I want them to also have a picture of your own personal experience and how you arrived at giving them the information that you're giving them. So let's start from the very beginning, which is just tell us a little bit about yourself. I know you're a minister of some sort of a pastor because you said you started Bible school online. You also have a physical school in Romania where people live, and it's really blessed a lot of people. But let's rewind and just start with who you are. Maybe tell us about your family. Tell us a little bit more about yourself personally. And then you can move on to telling us about what year you encountered Dr. Sunday. Okay?
Okay.
All right. Thank you.
Well, I grew up in a Christian family. Everybody I knew when I was young was only Christian people. So I even went to a Christian boarding school. So as I grew up, I did not have any not Christian relatives, basically. So it was natural for me as I grew up to believe in God and even develop a short time of solitude every day, because my parents taught me that kind of lifestyle. And but my parents, they were working secular, but they also started a church at the same time. So I grew up in a pioneering family where my parents, they started a church that is a rather big church for Denmark right now, and God has really blessed that whole thing. But I grew up seeing how to reach out to people, how to start a work from scratch in a town where there was basically nothing, and to see how it was done. So already from I was very young, I felt that God called me to serve Him, be pastoring and to make a difference in Denmark. And so then I grew up. After I went to high school, I went to study in America. I did my biblical studies in America for some years, almost 4 years. And then when I came back from America, I was asked to join in the starting of a Bible school in Romania. So right before I went to Romania, I got married. And so I am married. I've been married for 18 years now. And I have 2 very big sons, 15 and 17, teenagers. And so we went to Romania, and we were living there for almost 5 years, building that and helping and reaching out to people from that whole area, just in preaching and helping them to get a freer lifestyle, because it could be a little bit religious maybe in some churches. So we were trying to bring more freedom and love into that place and teach people how they themselves could have a relationship with God. And so we did that. We also started in the same time in Romania a youth camp. So people from all over Romania would come, young people from all over Romania would come to our youth camp in the summer, 1 week. So we had like 800 students. We still have 800 young people coming from all over Romania. And we just saw how we were able to have influence in churches and in the whole environment in all of Romania. And that was amazing to see, because we felt very small. We felt very almost like nothing as we started out, but all of a sudden God blessed it, and we had influence in the whole country. And so that was a great blessing, and it still is a great blessing. There are still people there working with it. So yeah, that is how I grew up actually, and that is the short story.
Okay. Wow. What a wonderful story. Guys, you notice something. Each person that I have interviewed or even encountered here in this house, they've had such amazing story that I personally couldn't even imagine their stories and how their life have impacted so many people, or what they're doing with their lives, or how they come to encounter Dr. Sunday. I just have this feeling that people that gravitate towards Dr. Sunday, they're very special type of people. They're not just ordinary people. They're people that, they're set apart. I might be wrong with this, but this is what I get. Every time I sit here, I'm sitting with really brilliant people. Finn has told us so many things that I just feel that they're really amazing. Coming from a Christian home, growing up with all Christian family, Christian relative, Christian everything, even went to a Christian boarding school in his words. And even with that, he felt like God has called him. He's done so many things in his studies in America. When he traveled to America, he went to study biblical studies. Coming back, he's setting up a Christian school or a Christian or mission school in Romania, helping the youth, helping even adults. And then now, to this next stage, he still wants to continue in the ministry. And what amazes me about him is that he's somebody that have accomplished those things. In my opinion, that's a lot of accomplishment as an individual. He's still willing to learn. He still wants to develop himself and be better. I think this can only be the heart of God and seeking God and seeing things in a different way that most people don't. So I'm really excited about this. I might not seem as excited as I usually am, but I think I've learned over the last few weeks that I should kind of keep my excitement at bay. But really and truly, inside, I am like jumping. I'm really excited to hear more from Finn. But before we go on to hear more, I want to welcome those that are joining us for the first time. I understand that many people have subscribed to this page, and they will get notification, and they're joining us for the first time. So I welcome you, and I encourage you to please stay. Watch this, be steadfast in what you're watching, and just pay attention. This is just the beginning. I feel like this is the beginning of new things for you. So please stay and continue to watch us this is going to be the best decision that you've ever made. So again, I would like to welcome you. My name is Mayowa. You're on Dr. Sunday Adelaja's page on Facebook. So let's continue. We're going to continue with how you came across Dr. Sunday. When and how. I would like to know that, please.
Well, actually, when I came to Denmark, I felt that God wanted me to also do Bible school in Denmark and teach people how to walk with God. Not only go to church every Sunday and not just having a religious Sunday relationship with God and then go to work. So I started the Bible school called Christ for Denmark, and it's a cross-denominational Bible school, so it's for anyone, no matter what background you have in Christian, as a Christian, then you can still go in and just learn how to walk with God. That was the whole intention. And so we did conferences, and we did physical teaching, and we did, and then we did also the online school through the homepage. But as time went by, I felt that God wanted me to, we needed to reach out. We need to reach out to more people than Christians, because we as Christians are very good to teach Christians and teach them how to walk, but we are not so effective when it comes to reaching the unsaved and seeing the work grow to an extent that is beyond it has been for a long time. And so therefore I started praying, I started seeking God, and so actually it was in this time of searching and seeking God the last year, the year before, 2016, I really was fasting, I was praying, and I was saying to God, God, I need to find a strategy or figure out how in the world are we going to reach people outside these four walls, and how are we going to see more people saved. And so I started with a friend. We went on the streets, we prayed for people, we saw people healed, but it was still not enough, because even as we saw people healed on the streets, miraculously one after the other, we still had a challenge in bringing them further than that. And so by God's grace, I met Pastor Sunday in November on Facebook. I had heard about Pastor Sunday before, because he has Europe's biggest church, and so his name was familiar to me, but I never knew what it was about, what he stood for. And many people have a big church, so I by accident I fell over it in November, and I listened to it, and I was very impressed from the beginning. I thought this is something that I need to listen more to, and so I started listening. And at that time he was doing the 2 hours every day, and I started listening and listening and listening, and I actually never stopped following the program, because there was so much to gain from his experience and so much to learn for every area of life. But then I also recognized that they're very, very effective in reaching people. So it's not just traditional church, but they have, Pastor Sunday has acquired knowledge and experience in how you can reach other people. So that's why actually I came down here, because I could see that these people have learned how to make a difference in society more than just having a Sunday church. And so that is how I met Pastor Sunday, and then, yeah.
Wow. Thank you very much. Wow. This is another insight. It's only been since November last year,
Yeah.
and you're already here. Wow. I really did see that you sought God and you found answer in seeking God. So that's amazing. That tells me a lot about you as well. It tells me, you seek, you find, and then you take the steps that you need to right away. That's really interesting, guys. I mean, that's a lesson that I've just learned from Finn right there. to seek God, and He will give you the answer, and in unlikely places as well, because Facebook, that's interesting thing, finding the answers on Facebook. So guys, if you're joining us for the first time, you know that Facebook is your friend, and Facebook can do amazing things. We're interviewing Finn right now, and he's telling us his story. So I'm interested to learn a lot more about his life and what he's doing. One thing I noticed about Finn is that he has a lot of insight. I was talking to him earlier today, and he was asking questions and asking me questions and, you know, giving me feedback. Before we jump to that, because I would really like if you could discuss some of those things with people, just see how they feel about it, or, you know, get others to start thinking about some of the things that we discuss, the insights that you have. So from November till now, we are in the 6th month. So November was the 11th month. So yes, 7.5 months now.
Yes,
It's been, yeah, 7.5 months. So interestingly, in 7.5 months, it's already found its way to Ukraine. How long did it take some of us? Probably a year and something more dramatic. So yes, that's good. But Finn, you talked about HMT as though you've already attended HMT. You know, I found that quite interesting. Well, maybe this is part of your insight, but can you please tell us a little bit more about why, you know, you feel that way? But before you do that, I noticed that you said that you wanted something more than just church. You know, we were reaching Christians, but we're not reaching others. We're not reaching people outside of the church. And you even said that even it wasn't enough to heal people on the street, because you said with your friend, you went out with your friend and they were healing people, but that wasn't enough. So before you go to HMT, I want you to tell us a little bit more about that. The two things, which were the not reaching people, we're reaching Christians, but not others that really need this gospel, that really need Christ. And also, not that it's not enough, that healing wasn't enough. You know, part of the things that really led you to really seek God more was that you saw firsthand that healing people and all that wasn't enough. So I just want to talk a little bit about that, because I know about people that talk about, you know, church beyond the 4 walls, which is basically what you're saying, that in the church is full of Christians and you're not reaching more than that. But I want to know about these two aspects that you touched on. Just reaching Christians and not developing more than that. And also when you do decide to go out and you're healing people and there's changes in, that is a good aspect. Being able to heal wasn't enough. You know, I would like you to, you know, give us a little bit more insight about that, if you don't mind.
Yeah. Yes, there is a very big move actually in Western Europe about going on the streets. There's many groups. I know. I mean, it's also spreading into many parts of the world. The people are going on the streets and they go up to people and they say, you know, are you sick? And then they say, okay, I want to pray for you because there is a God and He can heal you. And we see extreme. If you start to just go on the streets and you find a sick person, I mean, you will see that God does amazing things. And so that was an eye-opener for me when I started to see that really God does heal people right when you pray for them. Then people are touched. But the challenge that you also meet in that is that you have to follow up on them. And because they are not, you don't know the people, and they are in a busy, and you're in a busy, and then you have shown them that God is there, but you're not able to give them more than that. And so therefore it came to a shortage. It was like you were not able to get on beyond that. And so of course they had their eyes open that this was something miraculous. But I know some churches and ministries that are reaching, seeing hundreds of people getting healed every week or every month maybe. But they don't really see any growth in their churches. And so it was a challenge for me, because how are we going to reach them? How are we going to develop a relationship with them? And so what I found here in the Embassy of God is that they had learned more than just bringing healing to people. They had learned to develop ministries or outreaches where they could develop a fellowship with people. And so people came to come to certain outreaches. Some people reach out here to men, some people reach out to women, some people reach out to one and the other. And so they have learned to make church a place where you just reach out to people. And that is something very unique that makes the difference. So the healing was awesome, and it's fantastic. We all can be used like that. I think that we just need to have our minds renewed and open our minds, and we will see that God can use us in miraculous ways. But we also need to lead people to God, and that's where the Embassy of God is special, because it has specialized in reaching out to people and teaching them and learn and developing relationship with them, so they can continuously be of an example, continuously lead them, pastor them, encourage them, and make them to become what God has called them to become.
Wow. Thank you. That was an interesting one. Yes, I actually wasn't thinking that way, in that direction, because when you were saying that it wasn't enough, I was just thinking, okay, what else do people want? You've been healed, so don't you follow the person that healed you, or, but I guess if I can think like, other people, or even imagine what other people were thinking, it's like, okay, well, actually, yes, there is a God, but there isn't anything that I need to do, because I'm just standing here and this person came, they healed me, so there's no process involved. There's nothing else I need to do. So that's why the impact was short-lived. It was just, okay, the healing, and then they move on. There's no address because you're going on the street. There's no other communication with the people to say, okay, here, come to my church or come over here. And even when you do that, people will be reluctant because they didn't have to do that to get a healing in the first place.
Yeah.
So yes, it makes sense now. And yes, I can see the reason why you're seeking more, to develop more and make people to have better relationship with God. So I was going to mention about the church not being, in a building, being out, church being you rather than just being a building out of the four walls. So I don't want you to discuss something that I just bring up. I just want you to discuss the insight that you have on churches and also on general life now, because it seems like you have some insight that we don't, that I certainly don't. And I'd like you to share some of those. Yeah?
Well, I'm not sure exactly what the question is exactly, but I will say that that I find that the churches in the Western Europe are effective probably in preaching and developing people, the Christian people, and they get a lot of knowledge. But we are not so effective in reaching out to people. We are not so effective to bringing people into the church. And so what I find is that we need to develop that ability. And so being church outside the four walls is what you find in this place. You find that people have learned to be, that they are the church. And God has called me to do a certain thing. And I can be church in that area that God has placed me. And I'm there with a purpose. I'm there to establish the kingdom of God in this place. And people need to see that as Christians in the western part of Europe, I think. Because people are very reluctant to bring the church into the social atmosphere, because it's not politically correct to share what you have to share, and so therefore they don't say anything and they don't do anything, and people are just I separate church and state, and so therefore we have a lot to learn, and I find that that is what you can learn out of this place. How can I combine the two? How can I be effective in society, in that society where I live every day, where I spend probably most of my time either at work or at school or reaching out to somebody. I can make a difference, and I can become friends with them, and I can lead them to God. That is what you can find here, much stronger, and a very strong example of how that is done. That is what I find very intriguing here.
Yeah. Thing, and you say you're not sure exactly what my question is, but you answered exactly. You gave me an answer in line with what I'm asking, what I need to understand. And I think maybe the viewers as well would notice the same thing, that, you know, what you're saying in terms of churches not having enough impact is individuals not knowing that they are church, not just being in a building. It's not being, that isn't church. Am I correct?
Yeah.
To understand that they are church, and, you know, trying to get away from the dogma of being politically correct, that they cannot discuss or live Christianity in whatever sphere they are, where they spend the most of their time, you know, on a daily basis, to understand that that's actually their church. That's actually the purpose. Where they are in their purpose, they can also demonstrate Christ in it. Yeah. They can be advocates of Christ within those areas that they are in, not necessarily coming into a premises, which is a church building, to demonstrate their Christianity. Yeah. So, thank you for that. That is an insight, and that's exactly what you want to make happen. Now you want to spread that and let people know that it's not just about a building, it's more about Christ and relationship in Christ, and demonstrating that with your daily life, not just when you come into church on Sundays or midweek. Thank you. So I think we should move on now to what you were really promoting at the beginning of this, which is HMT. And I just want to know, first of all, just for the audience, if you've been to any of the HMT before. You know, because I know there was one HMT in November, there's one also was November, January, and also there was one HMT in April that's just gone. So I want to know, and I think the audience also would like to know, because you were promoting it so well. Have you been to any HMT? And if not, or if you have, tell us a little bit about HMT and your understanding and why you are promoting HMT so much, so well.
Well, first of all, I was mentioning HMT because it's an opportunity for you to come here. So that is, they send out invitations for people who want to be part of the HMT. But I have joined HMT over Facebook 2 times now. And if you have not seen the HMT, an HMT is History Makers Training. And so the point is for you to become a history maker. And so if you want to make a difference and want to leave a footprint in the sand after you have gone from here, then you definitely need to go and listen to the HMTs that has already been here. You don't have to wait for the next one. And what you find about the HMT is that they have different topics, different directions, but they're very, very important directions for your life and how you can make a difference. I know the one in January, I think it was, is how you can make profit out of your own life, how you can be of value, and you need to see all the value that God has put inside of you. That is something very special and something you need to be taught. You know, it's good to go to church and learn that Jesus died for your sins, but it's also important to know the value you have, that God has given you. And so if you follow the HMT, for example, from January, you will see what kind of value God has put inside of you and how you can turn it into something tangible. And then I also follow the HMT now in April, and it was more about how to do church, how is church supposed to be, and how are we supposed to do church, and so on. And it was very focused on the whole church work. And so most of us, and especially if you are listening to this program, I'm sure you're going to a church. And so if you want to be a history maker and be involved in church and God's work on earth, then it is extremely important for you to go and listen to also that HMT, because you can become a history maker out of the church or the place where you are and make a difference. So therefore I really promote that, but also encourage you, if you want to take a vacation and you feel, what shall I use 1 week for, then I encourage you to sign up on the guest, what is it called, guest at embassy dot.
God Embassy.
GodEmbassy.org.
Yeah.
Yeah, I encourage you to go in, sign yourself up on the schedule, and come down here. It's really worth it to invest in your life like that, because it will make a difference in your life.
Wow. Thank you so much for that. Okay, let me tell you the email address that you need to write to or complete the form is guest@godembassy.org. So if you go to guest@godembassy or you email guest@godembassy.org, that would be the email address where you can contact to say that I want to come and spend my vacation here, I want to come over to see Dr. Sunday, or just be in Kyiv, and I just want to notify you. And you will get a response. They will tell you what you need to do or what is required. So definitely contact guest@godembassy.org. The other thing that Finn really said that struck me, that, thinking in my myopic mind, I didn't actually think that Finn not attending Kyiv for history makers training, he's thinking on a different dimension, and is in the right dimension as well. He actually attended by just watching online. So his attendance that he was talking about HMT, history maker training, with such zeal that I'm thinking, I didn't see Finn in the last HMT, I didn't see you on the screen. And then you just blow my bubble of, well, I actually attended by just watching online. And that's attendance as well. That's another way of learning because we stream all HMT programs. And if you didn't watch live HMT, then there's an opportunity for you to watch it right now. You can go to Sunday Adelaja Official on YouTube. You see HMT playlist. So right in the middle of Dr. Sunday's page or channel on YouTube, you will see playlist, and on that playlist you will find HMT with the different dates. So you can choose whichever one you prefer. From things description, you know that they have different themes on each of the HMTs, but they're all beneficial. So I would say watch them all one by one. Not one is better than the other. They're all really important because they're on different subjects and you will benefit from them. So I would say go to Sunday Adelaja Official on YouTube. You will find all HMT teachings on there. So thank you again, Finn, for opening my mind. I'm just thinking, okay, I didn't see Finn attend, but you actually attended, because they're online classes, they're different way of learning. You don't have to be in classroom. Guys, I told you that I learn every day. Being in this house, you can't help but learn. You don't even have a choice. So another reason why you should go to guest@godembassy.org so that you can be here as well and learn. Finn has only been here a few days, and talking to him, I know that he's loaded. He has so much. And I also know that he has been listening to Dr. Sunday for some time, and that is of benefit to him. Because of the question he was asking me. He was grilling me earlier. I should do some more grilling as well and grill him. So Finn, I also want you to talk about something which is probably off, kind of just being in Dr. Sunday's house and being here. The conversation that we were having about Europe, about relationships. If you do remember that, about relationship, what your insight is on that. I just want to pick up on that topic about relationship, about men and women, and this era that we're in, and what's happening with Europe and European. And you don't want to?
I don't know what to say.
You don't know what to say, but you spoke to me about it. So maybe you should just tell us, so that the audience as well can hear what you said about it. I think it would be good. What your insights were.
Well, I was just trying to get some. I'm always trying to get some solutions, answers to my questions. I'm wondering if you start to follow Pastor Sunday, you will see that you start to think, analytical thinking, and so I've been thinking a lot about also relationship. And if you if you are in a marriage or in a challenging relationship, then I encourage you to go and listen to Pastor Sunday's teaching on man and woman. What does the woman expect? What does the man expect? Because you can learn so much from that. And he has some very deep insight. And I'm sure that a lot of what you hear on that teaching is something that you have not been introduced to before. So also I myself have really been listening to that because I want to be a blessing for my family and to the opposite sex, and I want to be that man that God has called me to be. And so what I find in Europe is that there is a challenge in the area of man and woman, because the man has a challenge in learning to become what it means to be the head of the house, to take the responsibility that God has given him. And so he's very challenged in that area, and it's important that we have fathers in our society. If we don't have fathers in the society, we have an orphan society, and people are walking around without fathers. And I think to a great extent, sadly enough, we have a society without fathers. They might be working, they might be bringing food on the table, but men has to learn to be fathers. But also the women has to learn to be the mother, to be the wife that she is supposed to be. And so I think that we are fighting some things in society that needs to be resolved. When the man don't know how to be the man, then the woman feel that she's responsible to take that authority. But that also has a tendency to lead to the point where she also speaks down to the husband, because he's not really living up to that which he's supposed to live up to. But also then that puts a stop for him to become that which he needs to become. And so there you have a struggle and a challenge. And so what I find intriguing about this place and that relationship is that Pastor Sunday has a lot of answers to that whole challenge that we are faced with in all of Europe. And it doesn't matter in which country you go to, it's the same challenge you have. You have women that fight for women, and you have that whole thing, and men that are working to be the man that they want to be, and so you have a lot of struggle in that area, and also a lot of struggle in the families, and even hurt kids because the parents cannot figure it out. So yes, I just encourage you at least to go and listen to that teaching also, just to put that there.
Wow. I told you guys, didn't I tell you that Finney's got a lot of insight? And this is just the iceberg of it. I'm really waiting for things teaching, because, this insight that you have, I think a lot of people will benefit from it. Not just coming from Dr. Sunday. Dr. Sunday likes duplicates of him. So I'm thinking, you could have a show about this, because this is a really wide subject. Mm-hmm. And from Dr. Sunday's teaching, which you're introducing to people to watch, which is about family and about men and about women, how a man should be and how a woman should be. It's a whole series on that. So please go to Sunday Adelaja Official. You will find a whole series on relationship, on men and women, what men should be and what women should be on the playlist. So I think your insight is quite deep, and it's, what makes it even more valuable, because it's coming from somebody that is in that group that you're talking about. Because, when I remember Dr. Sunday talking about this at some point in one of his teachings last year, and because it's not in that group, people don't really listen to you because they think, what do you know? You're just talking from the outside. But you are in that Western European group and saying this. I think that you would have to stop, at least people will stop to listen, because you're coming from the inside. It's coming from the inside the group. So if you will consider, I think it would be a good idea if you do sure on this. Even if this is the only series that you do, I'm sure that you would help some people. So thank you for giving us a snippet, because I know that what you've given us is quite measured, and it's a snippet of what you know, in terms of information, details, understanding. But thank you for also alerting those of us that don't know, those of you out there that don't know, that you can actually get the whole teaching on this on Sunday at Adelaja Official. Please, I will urge you to listen to that teaching on family, on men, and on women. So they're both sides. I think it went on for weeks. So the teaching is quite detailed, and it will help you to align what Finn is saying. And maybe Finn also will consider to start a show on Facebook on this. I don't know. Or even a teaching within his own organization and his own groups in Finland and in Romania. So that would be a good thing. Okay, I want to ask as well about your favorite teaching of Dr. Sunday, because it seems like you have actually followed Dr. Sunday. A few days ago, I was asking you, I think I asked you how many books of Dr. Sunday you've read. Yes, and you gave me an answer. I would like you to share that with people and share your favorite book. And then also the books that have not even been turned into, the teachings that have not been turned into book. Which of the teachings really impacts you the most? I'm asking that because there's some new people that have joined us, and even the existing people, DSA family, they would like to know this, so that there's some DSA family that have never read any of Dr. Sunday's book, or they don't have a particular interest in one teaching. They don't really know much about teaching. The teachings, they know that it's taught a lot. There are over 500 teachings that are out there, but in terms of knowing exactly which one is the best or which one they should go to, I think you would have a good. From our conversation to this afternoon, you seem that you're quite pragmatic. You see certain things that others haven't seen, because just going by the HMT alone has kind of given me a different insight on you as an individual and how you understand viewing Dr. Sunday or teachings. So I would like you, if you can help us, tell us a little bit about the books that you've read, which you said you've read number. Give us the number of the books, your favorite of the book, and then also a teaching that you think will really benefit people out there.
Yes, if I should talk about and recommend some of the teachings of Pastor Sunday, as I said in the beginning, as I found Pastor Sunday on Facebook in November, I started listening to him, and I went through a lot of his teachings, and actually until now I've read I think actually 11 of his books. And so you start to read a lot of books if you listen to Pastor Sunday, because he teaches you to be more efficient with your time. And if I should recommend where to start, I would recommend you to start with listening to Who Am I, because it gives you a direction. And it's important that you have a direction. When you go into Pastor Sunday's teachings, you have 500 lessons, and even though they are divided into different topics, you might want to start with going in a direction that fits your personality and what God has called you to do. And so listening to the Who Am I gives you a very clear understanding of what God wants to do in your life. And it's important that we don't waste time. And so if you are supposed to be, really supposed to be teaching some people about different topics, and you are working as a medical doctor, but God has put something else in your life and as gifts, and so you are just working for a salary, then you might be considering if God has a change for you, or another way that you can start to use that gift that God has given you. And so therefore, first of all, I want to recommend that you listen to Who Am I, so you find out who you are, what God has made you to be, and what the plan He has for your life. And that whole deep teaching, you can both buy the book that's called Who Am I, and you can also listen to all the teachings on the YouTube or of Pastor Sunday Official, and you can find all the teachings there. The second book or the second teaching that I recommend, and also there are books that follows up with that, is the time, spending time wisely. He has a whole teaching on being wise with your time, converting time into tangible things, not wasting your time, but accomplishing that which God has for you. And so one book that I really find intriguing and exciting is how you can regain your lost years. Some of us are older. Some of us can look back and say we wish we had gained more time, used our time more wisely. But Pastor Sunday has given us a teaching on how we can gain our lost years. Just in those last 6-7 months, I've been part of Pastor Sunday's teachings. I have read more books than I did the last 3 or 4 years. And I probably have read more books than most people have read the last 3 years probably. Just reading 15 books in a short time, all in all, or 17 books once a week, one book once a week. That makes me catch up with my lost years. And so it will help you extremely much to go in and listen to the time teaching that he has, so that you can be as efficient as you need to be with your time, but also learn to know who you are, so you're going in the right direction, and that will make you more effective than you could even imagine, because now you start to learn, develop your understanding, but you have also been given gifts from God to become that person. And so those two things together alone will make a radical change in your life. And I find myself that from reading all of this and having a calling in a certain direction, in a very few months, I stand so much stronger in that calling that God has for my life. And so that should be my encouragement. If you think, well, where shall I start? Where shall I begin? Well, start with going in and listen to the Who Am I? And then go to the time teaching, so that you are very efficient with your time, and it will bring you somewhere.
Wow. Thank you very much. Really great. Guys, you already know. If you don't know, guys, everyone knows that my favorite book of Dr. Sunday, not that I have read as much as Finn has, but my favorite is Who Am I? Why Am I Here? And that's for many reasons. Even the title alone, it didn't even occur to me that I need to ask that question, that who am I? Why am I here? Of course I'm already here. Of course I'm already in existence. But who am I? What does that mean? So that alone was so intriguing when my mind opened to that topic, that, oh, who am I? Why am I here? Even though I'd been listening to Dr. Sunday for a while, it took me some time to get there. But when I did, that was the best book ever. That book gave me so much insight on myself, on life, on my purpose, on God, on the power that I have as a human being, on identifying myself, a self-identity, self-discovery. It's an amazing book. Who am I and why am I here? So what also I would also tell you is that what Philip said, that is also have a companion, which is the YouTube videos. So as well as reading the book, you can also listen to the playlist on this subject of Who Am I, Why Am I Here? Is the Calling series. So check that out on YouTube, Sunday Adelaja Official. But the second book that Finn has just recommended, actually that recommendation is just for me as well, because I haven't read that book yet. Naughty, my owa. So that book that you need to go and check out is the How to Regain, not the, take the there out of it, How to Regain Your Lost Years. Again, this is a title that I haven't really thought about, but that title is amazing because most of us feel like we have lost time, we've maybe messed up, maybe we've wasted time, maybe we haven't done what we should have done, or we're not in the place that we should be. So that title alone should tell you something, How to Regain Your Lost Years. I've lost years, I know that I have. So I want to regain it and I want to do the best. So I'm actually going to take that recommendation on board and I'm going to start reading that book. It would be on my reading list. Maybe prioritized as well as top of it, because all the books are on my reading list, but I will prioritize this as well, because since I've read Who Am I, then this one is also the second book that will really go well. So Finn, I want to thank you for that recommendation. Thank you so much. Before we go, I just want to ask, what are you taking home with you now? You know, you've seen, you've heard, you've conquered, you've been trained, you've spoken to Dr. Sunday, you've spent time with Dr. Sunday in his house, you know him more than most people do, to some extent. So what are you going to take home with you? What is this experience specifically going to do for you and for the future on your way back now? Rather than on your way, as you go back.
Well, if I should define what I am taking back with me, that would be I have never seen such love mixed with servanthood. If you go to what I have seen in the Western churches, is that they're very, very organized, and it's very, very strict, and it's like a company, and that's not a bad thing that you're very organized. But what I found here is that the organization and the servanthood is based on love, and so there is a very, very relaxed, loving atmosphere. When I went to Embassy of God Church, it is an extremely big church. Of course, it's a few thousand people. There's many thousands of people there. But what I found is that everything works clockwise. You find that everybody is busy doing that which they are supposed to do, but not in a military way, just knowing, just acting, just loving, just caring. And so you see that as you come in, people are opening the door for you, but you don't sense that they are just put there, but they are immediately there to serve you and be of a help for you. So you see the love, you see when people stand on stage and the women are standing up there and they need to give a testimony. I mean, they don't stand for more than a few minutes, and there are somebody running up to give the ladies chairs. And so you see so much, everything works clockwise, but it works with love, because everybody here has been trained to serve and to love. And the church is growing by serving and loving and reaching out constantly. Not only to not Christians, but to everybody. Everybody is trained to serve and love and care and reach out. And so that is something that we really can learn from this place, and that I can learn from this place. So as I go home and I am starting to the work to start a new church, I can see that it all is founded on love and serving people, reaching out to people, caring about people, not just making your church like your business. Then you need this and then you need that, but it's all based on love and care. If you're around Pastor Sunday just a short time, then you realize that even though he is the most important person in this place, and even though he is the one writing books and he is the one leading and guiding everybody, he is completely down on earth, and he is there with you right then and there. He is filled with love. He is never too important. You're never too important for him, and there is never a bad moment. And he greets you and he loves you and he cares for you. So if he has never seen you before, he hugs you and he embraces you. And if we take that kind of attitude with us to our churches in our specific countries, then people will start to feel loved and cared for in a completely different way. Not just people who stand at the door and give you the hand, but somebody who cares, somebody who wants to serve you, somebody who wants to lift you up, somebody who think more for you than for themselves. And that kind of church environment is something that we need to bring to Western Europe, so that we are living for others and not for ourselves. And so I think that is the most valuable lesson that I have received as I've been here, that I need to only think how the other person is doing, and then God will take care of me eventually.
Wow, guys, this is so heartwarming just to hear this. Love and serve. That's what you're taking back with you. Actually, I need to demonstrate that too. Thank you so much for this insight. Just to break it down, that love and serve, that's Dr. Sunday totally. And thinking about the other person, not just about self. thinking about the other person, showing the love, the warmth, demonstrating in action, not just by words, but also in action. I really appreciate the time with you and some of the information that you've given us, some insight. I think a lot of us need to think about some of what you've shared. I'll be one of them, and also your recommendation. Who Am I in books? Who Am I and How to Regain Your Lost Years? Guys, they're both available on Amazon. So check out amazon.co.uk or .com. Both books are available, both in electronic format and also in paperback. So check those two books out. And also, right, don't forget, YouTube is your friend. YouTube is your friend, which is Sunday Adelaja Official. You will find a whole host of playlists. These books have an accompanying video or tape or teaching that you can watch as well. So you can read the book and also watch the video and listen to the teachings in the video. So I really appreciate you for that and making that clear. Another thing that Finn really alluded us to is that we can watch HMT. You know, if you haven't attended HMT and you're feeling like, okay, I need to attend, that's fine. You do need to attend. It's a great thing to be here, but you can't lose the lessons. The lessons are still available to you, and the lessons are also on YouTube, Sunday Adelaja Official. So watch the videos of all the HMT. If you take a vacation, come over here. That's another thing Finn told us, which is to contact guests at godembassy.org. So there's so much that you can do right now. If you're feeling like you want to learn, you want to develop yourself, you want to grow, you know, you're feeling like you don't, you know, you're at a plateau right now, then, you know, there's so much that has been shared here with you in the last hour that you can start to work with. So we're here to encourage you, to inspire you, to strengthen you, to help you to achieve your purpose. And I think everyone that I've had in the interview have done that in one way or the other. I really appreciate you. We will continue to do this to reach as many people as possible. So for those people that are joining us for the first time, again, thank you. Welcome. This is your home. You're welcome to join the family. Sunday Adelaja, Dr. Sunday Adelaja. There's so many channels that you can join or groups that you can join. You can join DSA Family Chat. You can then join DSA 50, DSA Live, Sunday Adelaja Live, Dr. Sunday Adelaja's Notes. There's several pages that you can join. If you want any information, you can actually inbox me. My name is Mayowa Olaya. Mayowa is spelled M-A-Y-O-W-A. And my last name is O-L-A-I-Y-A. So you can inbox me if you want some information, or you can also inbox Dr. Sunday Adelaja. If you want to contact Dr. Sunday Adelaja, also you can do that. It's pastor@godembassy.org. So that's pastor@godembassy.org. I appreciate you for watching this. I appreciate Finn for taking your time to join us and, you know, sharing these lovely insights, information, your life, your stories, your knowledge with us. Really much, I really appreciate. Much appreciated. So I'd like you to take the final words and just say something to the viewers before we go. Okay?
Well, if I should give you a last word before we go from here, it should be that you need to invest in your life. You have to see yourself as precious. You have to see that God has a call for you. And you need to see that God wants to change the world through you, and He has so much for you. So in all of your business and in all of your work, just to make ends meet and all of this, start to put yourself as a priority, because God created you because you have a purpose, and God wants to invest in you. God wants to fill you up. God wants you to become a strong tool in His hands. And don't look at yourself and say, I'm weak, I'm young, I'm old, I'm this, I'm that. But today is, you have today, and you have still been given today. So invest in yourself and become that effective tool that God has made you to be, because it's gonna make a much more difference than you ever could think. Yes.
Wow. So guys, invest in yourself. Finn has got it on the nail. So thank you again, Finn. Guys, don't forget, today we're back at 7 p.m. Ukraine time, and the big broadcast, Big Bang, is back on every day from 9 p.m. So first we come back at 7 p.m. and then we take a break and then we come back at 9 p.m. So today is going to be busy, or should I say tonight is going to be busy. Every night is going to be busy. We've got an amazing time lined up for you. So please, please, please share this and share with your friends and family to also join us from 7 p.m. Ukraine time today. So I see you again. Thank you so much. Have a good evening, or at least have a good couple of hours before we come back. Well, an hour and a half really. It's almost 5:30 here in Ukraine. So again, I will see you soon. Take care of yourself. Bye.